All right, what is good, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In the Paint. I am joined, as I am every time we record, with my buddy, my hooping pal, my co-host, Joe. Some good games so far, and some not so good games so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's really kind of what you expect out of the first round, right? I mean, you obviously have like your 1-8s or your mismatches where it's just like, okay, can we be done with this? And then you have, 4 or 5 games or, maybe some surprises here and there that turn out to be really good basketball.
Yeah, there's definitely been some hits and some misses, some duds, some really good games. That Knicks-Atlanta Hawks series, I feel like, is just going to be great every game.
So fun.
Both those teams are pretty evenly matched, and both have big glaring issues on certain parts of the floor.
Well, I don't know what you're talking
about. But, we'll get into that a little later. I do want to start the podcast off, unfortunately. We are going to talk about it because it was big news yesterday and the day before. Man, just like all 3 games 2 days ago had shitty fan interactions.
Like, let's just get this out of the way, like, real quick about these shitty fan interactions. It's great to see fans back.
100%.
Like, Madison Square Garden was popping. I mean, what a great place to play. Like, that's so much fun to see it sold out like that. Anyways, but you're right. We forget about, like, how shitty we can be as people, like, without those. So, like, the first one, Westbrook getting popcorn thrown on him, walking back through the tunnel. What's the purpose? Why? Like,
we're going to talk about one that I think is the second one we're going to talk about, which is absolutely abhorrent. What happened in New York.
Yeah, it's absolutely atrocious.
All of them are bad. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah.
But there are levels to some of these things. Like, popcorn doesn't harm anybody. It doesn't, like, whatever. It's popcorn. He's probably just a drunk fan being an idiot. It's disrespectful to a massive level. And if you're going to try not to fuck with anybody, Westbrook ain't the guy to fuck with. He's lucky there was hands on him because he was there. That was Malice in the Palace Part 2, maybe.
Easily,
I mean, he has the ability to kind of do that. Kind of like his brain sometimes just like, he just kind of sees blood sometimes. So, like, kudos to him for one, chilling out at some point. It took about 7 seconds. He kind of chilled out. But 2, like, kudos to security for, like, really quickly getting the fan out and then getting a hold of Westbrook down at the tunnel. Fan has been banned indefinitely, and he has lost his season tickets, which, like, okay.
Good.
Everybody, here's the thing. Ryan Russillo actually did a quick podcast on, or like instant reaction yesterday. He was like, everybody's going to come on TV and come on podcast and be like, I want to have the most severe punishment for this person. And it's like, sure, like, whatever. Your punishment doesn't matter. The problem is like, fans are so cool back in the arenas that, like, this is inevitably, unfortunately, going to happen. However, we can't just be like, hey, NBA, do something. Well, because the NBA can't really do anything. Like, unfortunately, all they can do is ban the fan and hope this doesn't happen again. But it's going to keep happening because, like you said, humans are shitty. And if you want fans at arenas and if you want courtside experience, like, this is one of the risks, unfortunately. I'm not condoning it, but the reality is this is definitely a risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not really much they can do to mitigate these situations, right? Except for, like, when it does happen, like, deal with it. Like, have a zero tolerance policy, and maybe that will make the guy who's had 6 beers and to think twice. So I don't know. I've never thrown popcorn on anybody when I've been drinking.
No, that's not usually my go-to.
No.
But like, again, we're not saying we're like geniuses and we're end all be all cure alls here. Like, but the bottom line is, hopefully, when you have these severe punishments for doing these things, that, like, maybe this deters more people or that next person from doing it. But, like, unfortunately, the reality is it's probably going to happen again, and it sucks.
Yes.
But I'm glad the NBA or at least the arenas are now taking some steps. This second one, there isn't anything more, honestly, like, dehumanizing than trying to spit on somebody. Like, think about that. Like, we, as humans, like, baseball players spit on dirt.
Yes.
Like, when you spit on somebody, when you spit on the ground, you're basically saying, like, nah, I don't care about the ground. Like, I'm going to spit on it. When you spit on a human, I know I'm maybe making a jump here, but I don't think I am. That is the equivalent of saying, like, you are mud, you are dirt. Like, you are, I don't respect you. You are, like, low level of life.
Yeah, it's extremely degrading. Like, I don't understand, like, how you can treat another fellow person like that. It just goes to show you, like, some people just can't separate. Like, they don't look at, basketball players as humans. And I'm
Like
not saying
there's been the comment. I think OBJ made a comment on the shop one time, the barbershop show with LeBron and Uninterrupted. He said they treat them like zoo animals sometimes. Like
no, for sure.
they think they're like just there to like be a puppet, and it's like no, they're humans too.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of goes back to like shut up and dribble, like exact same thing. Like their opinions or their thoughts or who they are as a person doesn't matter to people, and it's man, that's tough. Like, but anyways, I want to see that dude like that. I want to see Trae Young press charges on that guy.
Yeah, one, it's assault. Maybe it's simple assault, but it's assault nonetheless. And I mean, the whole thing of all of these is like, maybe this guy is bigger than Trae Young. You can't really see the dude. Like, the video doesn't really show his face. It just shows, like, and honestly, I didn't even see the spit the first time I watched it. Then the second time I watched it, you watch the female's reaction sitting in front of him, or in front of the dude that spits.
Yeah.
And she flips, and then you're like, oh, shit. And but you see something flying down from a little above her, and then you start to figure out, oh, wait, like, that was somebody spitting on Trae Young. And sure, Trae Young was the villain in game one. He was talking shit, and, like, deservedly so, but like there's a difference between like yelling fuck Trae Young and like Trae Young is balding, which were some of the cheers that were going on. There's a difference between cheering at somebody. Those were funny. There's a difference between cheering and then physically spitting on somebody. I mean, there's a line that's got to be drawn. Absolutely.
And like if you are at a game and you see that type of behavior from another fan, like just put a stop to it, man. Like I don't know. Like, there's certain aspects like, you know, that you can, there's certain things you can do to be non-confrontational to get that out. Like, you know, the arenas now, they have that, you know, somebody being disruptive, text that number kind of thing. So
100%.
Please use it.
Yeah, especially like if you're watching somebody drink a ton and you just like know that it's going to escalate at some point, like feel free to be like, hey, dude, cut you off. Like, I'm going to cut you off from drinking and like maybe take your phone / hold your hand at some point. I don't know. But this fan at MSG, which again was a rocking environment. It sucks that like we're starting the podcast, but ending the game, not worrying about the Knicks winning, but we're talking about this fan, you know,
right.
Like it just sucks. Cause again, the whole narrative gets flipped from a great game to a shitty fan interaction, and nobody wants that. Like the NBA product doesn't want that. But fan gets banned indefinitely. Haven't heard anything about season tickets, but as we know now, they're banned indefinitely, which usually means forever. But and then this one kind of like slid under the radar because the other two incidents were so much bigger. But the Jazz fans have had history of having some confrontations, some racial things thrown out, some slurs thrown out. And I don't know what was said necessarily in this case, but 3 Jazz fans were banned indefinitely because of a verbal altercation in their game 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was Ja Morant's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, the nerve to talk to a player's family. There's a difference between yelling at the player. I mean, I'm still not saying you even have the right to do that, but whatever. We've all done it. We've all heckled in some form. Maybe not. I have. But to go to somebody's family, to their flesh and blood, and talk trash and maybe get even more deeper than that, just there's a line.
Keep the family out of it, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's just...
We've heard players on the court say, like, you can say whatever you want, but when you start to talk about my mom or my family or my kids, like, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah.
So
they ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So.
Yeah. I mean, again, those 3 fans banned indefinitely. Not a whole lot to share with that. I know there was something said that was maybe very, very offensive if it was actually what was happened. So, you know, things like that, just there's no place for fans to do that. Ryan Russillo ended it great. He talked about a story really quick. He said there was one time when I was in my 20s, it was like I was at a college sports lacrosse game for wherever he went to school. And he was talking shit to the player that after the game they had lost. And the player comes by from the other team, and Ryan Russillo goes, "Ooh, got you," or like something. He didn't said it wasn't even very bad. He just said like, "Ooh, got you guys, like you suck." And the lacrosse player just turned to him and said, "Play a sport." And then literally Ryan Russillo from that moment was like, it shook me to my core. He was like, I was one person that wanted to do nothing more than play Division I sports. And when he said, go play a sport, he was like, to this day, I remember it like it was yesterday. He was like, so just remember that when you're at the sporting event and you're the fan that's heckling, that player could just come up to you and be like, go get a life. Like, go play a sport or be a professional athlete. Like, you can't. That's why you're there.
Exactly.
So, like, just chill out and, like, let's remember the game and not, like, trying to be an asshole, throughout these games.
It's like when we talk about, like, these players, like, playing really bad games or anything like that or not right, like, they're infinitely better than us.
Remember, we're just analyzing. We are not
Right.
saying we're better because we are not.
No, like,
There's a reason why we're
But then-
behind microphones and not on the court. But yes, they are much better. They have more talent in their pinky than I do anywhere else.
right.
Okay, let's put that aside. 3 games, 3 shitty fan interactions. Let's move on. Those are done with. Hopefully, things like that don't happen again. Fingers crossed. Okay, let's get to the basketball part of this. There's going to be a couple of these series that we can just breeze through because they're absolute duds.
Like this first one right here.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Sixers Wizards. I literally have in the comments here, LOL.
Just LOL.
Because, like, there's
Lol.
nothing else to talk about this. I mean, the Celtics the Wizards.
Well, they're both bad, too.
They're both bad. But, like, the Wizards are just entirely outmatched. Like, Bradley Beal could go out and score 40 every single game, and they're still going to lose by 30.
Yes, I really don't have any analysis other than, like, the Wizards are definitely not good enough, and the Sixers are definitely good enough. Like,
Right?
They're just better.
Yeah.
So they're up 2-0. I mean, I really don't have any more to add. Like,
No.
there's just it's a complete mismatch everywhere.
It is, and I'm ready for that one to be
Yes.
done. This one, though, I want to go the full 7 games.
Yes.
Like, this has been so awesome. Knicks, Hawks, series tied 1-1. Trae Young gets the best of them with the help of the referees
For sure.
in the first one. And then, did you see that fourth quarter stand by the Knicks in game 2?
Yeah, I was definitely eyes glued, as I've mentioned before. Like, I'm a massive Derrick Rose fan, and he's now on the Knicks with Tibbs and Taj Gibson. It gives me all the nostalgia I need.
Yeah, like I forgot that Taj Gibson still played basketball. To be honest with you,
Legitimately, he probably shouldn't be at points, but like he is. Again, I'm saying that as a fan.
And he had a massive fourth quarter for them, like
He did.
defensively.
He played huge.
So, yeah.
But yeah, definitely eyes glued. The fourth quarter for the Knicks was absolutely what they've been doing all year, which is stout defense and then just getting timely buckets. Julius Randle, while he had a great second half and fourth quarter, still is not playing up to his potential. So again, I keep waiting for, like, once he gets to, like, regular season Julius Randle, which may not happen. I mean, like, some people just struggle in the playoffs, but if they get to that point, this series is going to start to get really tough for Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, he was not the same for the first, game and a half. It was not the Julius Randle that we had been used to seeing over
Right.
the last year. But you hope, like, that second half kind of propels him, like, to be like, okay, I can get this. So,
For sure.
real quick, I don't have this in our notes, but Nerlens Noel, he can defend, man.
I don't know if, like, people just forgot about the guy, and maybe they did because, like, he's been hurt a decent amount and, like,
Yeah.
has been on some teams. But, like, dude has length for days and is always in the right spot. It seems like.
Yeah, like I didn't expect that. I watched some Knicks, games this year and everything, but like he was all over the place.
He really was. He just provides a ton of energy, and like you said, he can get from one spot to the other, and he's usually seems like he's in the right spot. And even if he's not, he's got the length to, like, still affect a shot.
Right.
He's stifling the people, driving to the lane. The rim protection from him is pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
for them, because Julius Randle isn't known as necessarily a great defender.
No.
And Taj Gibson is slower, and Obi Toppin, again, wasn't known for defense in college either. So you need that one guy who, by the way, Nerlens Noel was definitely known for defense in college, like the above the rim play. He's been great. The whole Knicks kind of culture and, like, grit and grind. I know that was the Memphis Grizzlies, but this is kind of like, just buckle down and really, like, make things ugly. Sometimes what the Lakers do too. And in playoff basketball, it really works. We know that.
Yeah,
like,
it
it
does.
comes down to, like, making it ugly and getting a few stops at the end of the game, and they did it. Well, multiple times.
Right.
So
In that second game, and that's when you're trying actively, I think, to get calls instead of just going out and play basketball.
yep.
Like when they start to not go your way, what do you rely on?
Yeah. I mean, Nick Wright was saying it yesterday and the day before. He basically was like, you can foul hunt in the regular season, but foul hunting in the playoffs has proven, James Harden, sometimes Chris Paul too. Like,
Yeah.
foul hunting has shown that it lessens and it's tougher and tougher to do in the playoffs. So again, we're finding out that, like, I saw this stat in game 1. Trae Young didn't shoot a single free throw until the fourth quarter, and then he had 9.
Yes.
I don't anticipate that keeping to be happening because the
Correct.
referees are going to start to catch on, and we know playoff basketball is officiated different.
Yes.
So hopefully that
And
trend, doesn't keep happening and it stays consistent.
Right. Hawks have been shooting the lights out at least the first game.
Yeah.
Second game, second half, they went cold. So that kind of answers that question. Can the Hawks keep shooting like this? Probably not.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter missed a couple wide open ones.
Yeah, he hit that first
Yeah.
one in the first quarter in game 2, and then literally I think missed his next 6.
Right.
Like they're very streaky shooters for sure. That team is.
Exactly.
Trae Young, if he gets hot, watch out. Bogdanovich too, but if they're cold, man, they're ice cold.
And if you're playing great defense and you're chasing them off that line, I don't know what else they have offensively after that.
Yeah, they constructed that team to be 5 wide or 4 out.
Yes.
With Capella, and if they're not hitting, again, we've seen playoff basketball, 3 may not be the thing to rely on all the time. Lakers get 60 points in the paint last night.
Crazy.
Sometimes you got to get in the paint.
Yeah.
So
You got to score in a variety of ways.
So that series, we both think, will go 6 or 7, and it's
Yes.
going to be great every single game, I believe. So
Yeah. This one's going to go 7. No, I'm just kidding. Damn.
oh yeah, bring it up. Let's go.
Damn, the Bucks look really good.
So
this
good.
is not your Bucks team of the last 3 years.
No, this is not your daddy's Bucks. This is the new and improved Bucks.
Yeah, and you know what's great is that Giannis doesn't have to score a hunt right now.
Legitimately, he can be the third option.
He can score 17, 20 points a game, grab his 15 rebounds, have his 7 assists, play amazing defense, and they'll win.
It is such a game changer to have Drew Holiday. I texted you that yesterday. He's
Yeah.
a massive game changer for that entire squad because he now makes it that Giannis doesn't have to score 30 a game. Like you just said, Giannis can essentially be your third scoring option if you want it to be.
And Giannis is kind of obviously he can score, but I think Giannis is perfectly fine scoring 17, 18 points a game.
Yes. No, 100%.
Knowing he's the best player. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
And if he honestly can exert more energy defensively, at the rim, that is scary because he's already great, won a defense player of the year. But if he can score 20 and then get you 5 blocks and get 17 rebounds a game, unbelievable.
Another thing in the series is that Brook Lopez, the Heat don't have any answer for him.
0.
And you can't defensively right now. Usually you would say, okay, you spread it out. You try to take him off the court because, he can't close out. The Heat cannot buy a shot. So it doesn't even matter.
He just sits in the paint because he doesn't trust that they can hit anything.
And they can't.
And they can't. Literally, I texted you yesterday. They were 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 on threes in the first few minutes, but they had taken 15 twos and still missed a ton of them. They can't buy anything.
No,
they're
they
cold
really can't.
everywhere.
So question for you, and you alluded to it afterwards or at the beginning of the season, was the bubble heat just a complete aberration? Were they not an NBA title team by any stretch of the imagination?
They were not. And I said that at the end of the season, and I told you this, and this is one where I was right and you were wrong.
Yes.
Which you were right about some things last night. We'll talk about them later, but you were definitely wrong on this one. However, it takes nothing away from what the Heat did last year. Because they were one of the few that were no, we're going to embrace this bubble. We're going to stay. Last year, the teams that embraced the bubble, they were the ones that obviously were successful.
Yes.
Lakers embraced it. At a time, they wanted to leave, but they embraced it after that. Heat embraced it the entire time. Nuggets, too. If you embrace the bubble, you did really well. Well, here's the thing. This ain't the bubble anymore. You don't have to embrace shit. You just have to be good. And right now, the Heat aren't very good.
The Heat are not very good. Dragic looks old.
Tyler Hero can't buy a damn thing. He averages 7 points in the playoffs right now.
Duncan Robinson is a one-trick pony. He has been found out, man.
Yep.
And unless he becomes, someone who has counters to those things, who can execute a pass, he's going to struggle.
Yeah.
And Bam didn't take the step that I thought he would.
No, he great defensively, but offensively, when he gets a bigger, more physical guy on him, he kind of shrinks at times. At least Brook Lopez, and
Did you see Chris Middleton eat him up?
Yeah, he bodied him. Yeah,
Crazy.
I hope he doesn't turn into the AD type, and that's not necessarily. It is kind of an insult, but it's more I hope he doesn't become more finesse than strength because Bam is so strong and so skilled
and aggressive.
I hope he doesn't just start to float around the elbow and the 3-point line like AD's kind of started to do a little bit. He gets in the mix at times.
Yeah.
He has flows, but I hope Bam still stays down low and bodies people down there because he can.
The Heat need offense, man.
Yeah, they just can't score. I mean, honestly, can't score. And the Bucks are shooting pretty well. Not game 1, but game 2 and 3, they've shot pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, so this one again, not a whole lot to talk about. Brooklyn Nets and Celtics. You jokingly or mistakenly alluded to them as the shitty team that was playing the Sixers. They're still the shitty team playing the Nets.
They're such an average team.
Oh,
Like
I would even say maybe below average. Like just
like when you look at their roster, especially right now without Jaylen Brown,
yeah.
like it's almost like not an accomplishment that they got this 6 seed, 2nd seed, or
7 seed.
7 seed,
Yeah.
7 seed. But
But yeah,
I mean, they are the 7th seed. I mean, and they look every bit the 7th seed or worse, to be honest with
yes,
you.
yeah.
So
At times, much
they have
worse.
lost a lot of stuff over the past couple of years that they just have not replaced. So they've tried to replace in house, and I know you like to harp on Danny Ainge, draft pick
facts.
after draft pick, but you're right.
I have nobody else to really blame other than Danny Ainge. I know we can say that maybe Brad Stevens isn't getting the most out of these guys and whatever, and that's part of it. But body language for these guys, front office moves for these guys, Danny Ainge has been almost making a trade for the past 7 years.
Right.
He almost got Anthony Davis. He almost got this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter. If you almost get somebody, you don't get them. And now you're not stuck because that sounds bad. Tatum is going to be a superstar. Maybe already is. Jaylen Brown is ascending. But what do you have after that?
Oh, you have nothing.
Right?
You have absolutely nothing.
And Kemba Walker still isn't right. And I'm not taking Kemba over some of the elite point guards that are in the game right now.
No.
So, what do you have?
Marcus Smart.
Sick, dude. If Marcus Smart is your 3rd best guy, or sometimes even your 4th best guy, if he's your leader, watch out.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
He has a role on an NBA team, but
sure.
Wouldn't you want to see him on as a 6th or 7th guy,
he
first
needs
or
to be
second
off the
guy
bench.
off the bench?
Yeah, I agree.
When your team's struggling, he comes in and he just provides you energy.
Yeah.
Gets you 3 or 4 extra possessions, and you're just
100%.
let's go. But
Yeah.
the role he's in right now, he's just overmatched for.
He is.
That roster is thin.
Yep.
Extremely thin.
We've talked about it all year, and we said that was going to be their downfall. No depth.
I don't know what they're gonna do moving forward because it's not gonna get much better than the 7th seed for them as currently constructed, right? 6th seed maybe.
And there's teams in the Nets that are Nets, the team in the East like the Nets, but that are getting better.
Yeah.
Knicks are getting better. Hawks are getting better. If you don't get better, you're just going to keep sliding down the standings. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they're screwed. I mean, quite frankly.
As far as the Nets concerned, I don't think this series tells us anything we didn't already know.
Correct.
They can score. This was going to be a sweep from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You and I both called it. So I still want to see them do it against a good team.
Well, we're going to see it next round against the Bucks, and that is going to be awesome.
That's going to be sweet.
Buckle up. That will be so good.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break here, and then we'll talk about the Western Conference, and then we will finish it off with a couple questions to kind of round out the first round of the playoffs. All right, we are back. Let's talk about the Western Conference series. Some, again, good. Some, not so good. Some that we are going to delight so much in talking about.
Yes.
But let's start with the one out west in Utah and Memphis.
Okay. So Memphis stole game 1.
Yes,
They're not going to win another one, right?
I agree. Series is over.
Yes. Donovan Mitchell comes back. First 3 minutes, just bang, bang, bang. Those 2 threes, they look smooth as shit.
Oh. And let's quickly talk about that for a second, because I don't know if this got kind of glossed over or whatever, but I want to make very clear. Donovan Mitchell came out and said he wanted to play game 1.
Yeah.
And the training staff didn't clear him. But I was reading more, and I don't know if you read this too. So Donovan Mitchell, early on in his rehab, was working with the team doctors.
Yes.
Rehab wasn't progressing as well as he wanted, so he paid his own people to rehab him.
Yeah.
He got back better, quicker, more efficient. And he said in media days leading up to the game that he was 100% ready to go. He could play 48 minutes if he needed to. He was definitely playing.
Yes.
Day of, they don't clear him. I'm very positive that they didn't clear him because they didn't want any injury that happened on their watch to be because he was training with outside sources. The outside sources aren't the ones that get paid and could lose their job if Donovan Mitchell gets hurt, if they rush him back, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that they didn't clear him for game 1 to be overly cautious, and then they told him, hey, quit talking about your injury status. Like, let us do that.
Yes.
And then cleared him for game 2. All that is fine, happens all the time, but it doesn't get public. I thought it was weird that it got public that way.
It is, and it's just a really bad look for Utah, right? Like if you're an impending free agent,
Yes.
and you're trying to look over there, and like that's not that free agents ever go to Utah. Actually, that's not true.
Well, but it doesn't it remind you? Do you remember like 3 years ago when Kawhi had the knee thing and that thing got real public and got
Yes.
real dirty, like in public, and that's part of the reason why he went to Toronto. Like he got
Correct.
very angry. It's not that bad, obviously. That was very extreme because it went on for like a whole year.
Yes.
But you don't want things like injuries and like training staff and rehab and all that stuff, like that progression. You don't want that out there because it can leave a black, a bad stain, a black hole kind of on your program.
Absolutely.
So-
and I don't think like it's going to affect Donovan Mitchell long term
no way.
in his outlook in Utah or whatever. But it is something to keep an eye out. Like I think
I agree.
going forward.
Something to watch.
So,
But
yeah.
all that to be said, the Grizzlies are outmanned. They're going to try. I mean, obviously, like they were down 30 at one point, I think, in game 2 or 25, and they only ended up losing by 12. Ja almost has 50 points. But like, again, if they just don't have enough, and they're going to try their ass off because that's their culture. But
Yes.
like, it's just not going to be enough. The ball movement from the Jazz and the defense that Rudy Gobert plays, like, they just don't have enough.
they look really good. The Jazz do. I mean, but again, it's Memphis. So like I don't know what to take away except for they're going to win this series 4-1.
Yeah.
And they should win this series 4-1.
If Dylan Brooks
Also,
can go out and
Bogdanovich
drop,
is awesome.
oh yeah, I mean changes didn't have him last year, and that was a big reason why they didn't advance in the first or second round. Was it first round? Yeah, first round. But if the only way they advance is if Dylan Brooks basically averages like 30 or 35, and Ja averages the same, and they're just not like. It's unfortunate, but like it's not. They're gonna try their ass off, but it's 4-1. Like they're not winning another game.
Dylan Brooks is really fun to watch.
He is, and great defensively. Like that is where his calling card is, honestly, is defensively. But he has been having these crazy games where he drops like 30, 34, 35, which is honestly what they needed to be able to get to
Yeah.
where they are.
I mean,
But-
that's how they won game 1.
exactly. And it's just not going to continue though. Like
Right.
it's kind of an aberration.
Can I make the argument that Bogdanovich is one of the most underrated players in the NBA?
Oh, yeah. I mean, remember we made our all underrated squad, and he was definitely on it.
Yeah, like he's isn't he like 25-5? Something.
Oh yeah, he
something like
definitely
crazy?
averaged that. Yeah. So, and when nobody talked, well, now we're talking about him, but nobody talked about him because he was in Indiana. I mean, like,
Right.
And he was somewhere else before, but he was just not in a great system. Now he's getting the recognition.
ball.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good, so good. And he's a little feisty. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, here we go.
Yes.
The one we've like when I wanted to have I texted Joe, I'm like, Joe, can we do an emergency podcast about the Clippers being ass?
The fourth season.
Sorry,
Clippers.
yeah, sorry. I'm gonna
Yes.
let you call them that.
Okay.
They are that, but that's your new name for them now. Joe, talk about the 4 seeded Clippers.
The fourth seeded Clippers are exactly what they were in the regular season. So I don't understand why people are surprised. They've got obviously 2 really, really great players and nothing else.
Nothing else.
Nothing. Like, I remember a time when I was mad that the Lakers traded Zubac. Nope.
No
Not
chance.
Mad. Not mad at that anymore. Marcus Morris has been ass.
Yep.
Patrick Beverly, dare I say, like, not only should not be a starting point guard in this league, I don't even know if he's a point guard in this league anymore, man.
Yeah, I don't know where you put him.
Like,
Offensive liability. Can't do a thing offensively.
too small, really.
Honestly, now like
defensively.
with these big point guards, too small, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like his stat line the other day, something like 30 minutes, like 0 for 3.
Yep.
Like, I don't even think he registered a steal.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and for a guy who talks a lot, like, again, infinitely better than we are, obviously.
Oh, sure.
But like, I just don't know that he do we get caught up in the hype of, because he hustles so hard and he works so hard and everything like that we think he's a good player, because he is not a good NBA basketball player. The facts show it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything you said I echo. Like it's all spot on. The depth that they supposedly had is not actually good depth. It's just bodies. They thought Rondo was going to be like the cure all for chemistry in the fourth and down the stretch. It's not that. Luke Kennard getting paid 4 years, $60 million, hasn't played a minute. Marcus Morris 4 years, 64. Ben Butt.
Ibaka.
The big offseason acquisition they had, played 6 minutes in game 2. Nicholas Batum is on the minimum because he was literally statistically the worst player in the NBA per like advanced stats and minutes played. He was the worst player in the NBA last year. Can't get a bucket. Sent you that text that literally said, down 11, 0-1 in the series. The Clippers just ran an ISO play for Nicholas Batum, and they got a shot clock violation.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the positives. Kawhi had the best half of his entire career.
Yeah, when he dropped 32.
30 or 32 points in the first half. Ended up with 41, and they still lose. Paul George played well. They still lose. You want to know why? Because they got nothing else.
They got nothing else, and they don't defend right now.
They cannot defend. Situational defending is atrocious.
Like, Lou doesn't have this locker room. I texted you that the other day. Which is weird because it's the second well-respected
By
coach,
players.
Yeah, by players, coach in a row that just has no control, right?
Yep.
Like, as far as can't get his guys to buy in and play hard. And even after the game, it's not like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are sitting there basically saying, we'll be okay. No, we're not worried. Instead of being like, I just feel like in that sense, you'd be like, hey, we got to play better, man. Like, we're not, there's none of that.
Yeah, well, I think Paul George was like, no, we're not scared at all. Like, there's no pressure. It's like, well, that's a lie because we know you're feeling pressure because you didn't want to play the Lakers. Like,
Karma's a bitch.
I want to bring this all back to like at the last two games of the regular season.
The ducking.
They ducked the Lakers. They
Yes.
lost to the two of the worst teams in the NBA so that they could play the Mavs. And you didn't think that the Mavs were going to take that personally? You didn't think that Luka was going to come out and put you in a torture chamber every single chance he could because you thought that your better matchup was the Mavericks versus the Blazers? I'm not saying maybe it was or it wasn't, but the fact of the matter is I would absolutely rather face the Blazers than the Mavericks.
Yes.
Especially because the Mavericks played you last year, and the only reason that it wasn't even a more competitive series is because you stomped Luka's ankle.
Yeah.
So Luka has been the best player in the series for the last two series because they played him last year. He was the best player then. In the I think I saw in the 12 or so games he's played, he averages 31, 10, and 9. And you wanted to play this team instead of just like maybe playing the Lakers the second round?
Yeah, it makes zero sense, one, that they did that.
And karma's a bitch, like you said.
Yeah.
You get what you asked for, and now you may get swept. They're not gonna get swept. They'll probably win a game. But if they do get swept, you had it coming. Like, you asked for it.
Yes.
And people are gonna lose their job. People are gonna get traded. And this team, which already was one of the laughing stocks, if not the laughing stock franchise of the NBA, again, is back to laughing stock.
Kawhi and Paul can leave.
Well, Kawhi can.
Kawhi can. That's right.
Yeah,
Paul
has
yeah.
either 1 year or two. He signed the
correct.
extension, but Kawhi did not. Now, he's not going to leave because he loves LA, and I think that he truly does want to try and win a title in LA, whether that's going to happen or not. But, don't forget, they mortgaged the future, by the way,
Yes.
to get Pandemic P,
Yeah.
to get these guys. They mortgaged everything. They are, as Nick Wright alluded to it, and he's spot on, I was looking at the roster, they are the Houston Texans. Like, in terms of you have some few big talents and then nothing for the future to show for it. So you
Correct.
better win now, and they're not.
Yeah. I don't understand the Ibaka 6 minutes.
I don't think he's healthy still. I think they kind
Yeah.
of rushed him back, but yeah.
And I don't think, and the Luke Kennard thing, I mean, everybody was scratching their head at that deal because
But at some point, if you pay the guy $60 million, don't you want to like see what he can give you at some point in the playoffs?
at least get him off the bench, right?
Like, even
get
if
him
it's
a little
10
run.
minutes.
So
You're
they
playing.
just-
You're playing Terrence Mann.
So that's on Lou then.
Oh, I'm not saying it's on Lou. I'm just saying like maybe now you're down 2-0 and you're in game 3. Maybe Lou's just like fuck it, we're trying anything now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you're down 0-1. You were in the game at one point in game 2. I know it was in like the late fourth early fourth, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe like mid-second when you're like maybe tied or whatever, like try throwing Luke Kennard in and seeing what happens. I don't know. I know we know that Luke Kennard wasn't worth the contract he got, but like you did pay him that.
So at
Marcus
least see it.
Morris has been asked. Why are we not just like letting Luke
Yeah.
Kennard play?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
They just aren't right, and even like their after game, like that's I know like that's not always the case where that matters or whatever. But I put a lot of stock into theirs because like it's a lot of the same as last year against the Nuggets,
For sure.
where it was just like oh yeah, cool, you know what I mean? Like no one seems pissed. Like they're not
Yeah.
coming out of the game and saying Kawhi's not saying what. we have to play better. We have to buckle down defensively. Luka's killing us. It's none of that. It's just like, we'll be all right.
Well, Kawhi will never do that, and I think like that
hurts
is part
him,
of it,
though, right?
Yeah. That's part of it.
So,
all right, let's talk about it. We love Luka. We know how good he is. There's nobody like maybe there's a couple, but like if you're starting a franchise and you're looking 10 years down the road, you're starting it today for 10 years, whatever. Is there anybody you're taking ahead of Luka?
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so. Maybe Jokic, but like they're not similar, but like their games are somewhat like comparable in the passing aspect and whatever in their vision, but Luka will be maybe hyperbole, but he's going to end up being a top 15 player of all time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe top 10.
Yes.
So like I don't know if I can say that about Jokic. Jokic will be up there, but I don't know if I can say that about Jokic right now. I can definitely say that about Luka.
Right.
So
I mean that is extremely fair. And then you look at Luka now and what he's doing, and you're just like, did we like sleep on him for MVP? Like,
oh well, no, but yes, like I'm
like as a society.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I think we got enamored with Steph, and as you know, like I love Steph, so I'm always going to be pro Steph. But like we got a little bit enamored with what Steph was doing towards the end of the year, which rightfully so. He was going bonkers, and Luka was struggling a little bit at times. But yeah, like it's always funny when you watch the playoffs and then you look about the people that like, oh shit, we should have mentioned them for MVP because like they're like Giannis. I know he's struggled a little bit at times shooting, but like we're gonna get to a point where it's like maybe Dallas in like the Western Conference Finals or like second round or whatever, and we're gonna be like, oh, so Luka, Giannis, LeBron, Jokic, maybe like these guys are all going to be in the later rounds. And we're like, oh fuck, we missed some of these. Like, you know what I mean? Dame,
exactly.
He's not going to make it there, but like Dame is doing things right now where you're like, holy shit, you know, like,
and his team's still losing though.
Still losing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. Like,
but
there's no one I'm picking ahead of Luka right now for a 10-year down the road franchise for sure.
Not. And that's why I posed that question because I really sat down and thought about it last night. I was like, I don't think there's anybody that I would. So
yeah, I don't think so either. He's just so damn good.
Trae Young.
Oh, dude,
No,
seriously. No. All right, I'll give you the floor here. You were right. You wrote this outline, and the game wasn't even like started yet, I don't think, or maybe it just started, and you already put that the Nuggets were going to be up 2-1,
and they were,
and you were right. So
yes,
we know how much you love Jokic. We know how much you want to talk about him and adore him. So go for it.
First, I'm going to talk about Dame.
Okay.
And Dame is doing absolutely everything he possibly can to keep them in this series because the Blazers are sort of, in a way, outmatched, right? Like, it's just that the Nuggets have more counters, and you said it best, that Terry Stotts either can't or won't make in-game adjustments.
Yep.
Because they don't have the defense or the personnel.
They don't have the personnel,
to do it. Whereas the Nuggets can go out and they can put Aaron Gordon, who switched on to Dame in Game 2, didn't shut him down, but did a really, really good job on him.
Stifled him.
So, yeah. And then the Blazers went into the series, and you can tell that they want Jokic to score to beat them.
Yes. Yeah. It's let Jokic get his and make him score 40.
Right.
Or, let him score 40, I guess.
And he's doing it.
He actually is.
And they're still winning.
Yeah.
So, which is just goes to show you, like, how well-rounded he is. Like, offensively, they're not sending doubles. I can't blame them for not sending doubles, but, and then Jokic goes out and he scores 35 on, 16 shots?
Yeah, I think he had, 16 or 17 shots last night.
Just highly efficient.
Yeah.
So, I call this as a 4-1 series. Blazers can still steal a game, but this one has more of a feeling that it's over, right? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I have Blazers in 7. I'm still sticking to it. And here's why. So you could say this about every series, and it's not wrong necessarily, but there are some times in series where guys that don't normally get hot. Last night, that was Austin Rivers.
Yes. That happens once a game or once a series for someone, yeah.
And so I know they ended up losing by I think it was actually 3. There was a chance, actually, I was staying up watching the game, and there was a chance the Nuggets missed 2 free throws at the end to make it a 5-point game, and they missed them. And Dame or somebody came down and missed a 3, and then, or maybe it was Melo. Melo had a really good fourth quarter. Terrible game, but good fourth quarter. They missed a 3 to tie it, and then I think they ended up winning by 5. The Nuggets did because they hit 2 free throws at the end. But for all this talk of the Nuggets dominating them, they only won by 5, and there actually was a chance they could have the Blazers could have gone to overtime in this game. So I understand the Nuggets are in my opinion, right now they're showing they're the better team. I don't know if they are without Murray, but they're playing better, and like that matters. But if you're gonna ask me like because of what happened last night, if it now becomes a 4-1 series, I just don't see Austin Rivers going bonkers again. You know, like I just really don't. He hit literally, I think 2 or 3 threes in a row. 2 of them were heat checked, like they were deep, and he drilled them. So like good for him. Shout out him. But at the same time, I don't trust that to be like your deciding factor every night is like Austin Rivers being the guy. Now you can say that about everybody, but I'm still sticking with Blazers in 7. I think Blazers get the next one, and then again, we're back to a 3-game series at that point.
Yeah, Austin Rivers shot, I'm looking at it right now, 50% from 3, he had 21 points.
That's an aberration.
That's an aberration.
You know, like he was out of the league in March.
Yeah. Aaron Gordon, he's got to get them better, man.
He does. Like, that was a guy that you were basically expecting to give you like 18 and 10, and I don't know what he did last night, but
13.
Okay, so like it's not enough.
13, 4, and 3. Yeah.
Maybe not 18 and 10. Maybe like 18 and 7. But still,
I'm 44% shooting.
It's just not. It's not good enough.
Yeah, it's not. But they have Jokic, and
yeah,
the Blazers just don't have an answer for that.
They don't.
Yeah.
And they can't double because he's so good out of the post passing. Like they have to just go 1-on-1 and hope he misses. But even when he misses, he's big enough to get his offensive rebound. He got like, I don't know if you got the stats up. How many offensive rebounds did he have? It seemed like I was watching. He had at least 5.
Yeah, he had 6 offensive rebounds, 11 total. And Nurkic is a great player, but he's just overmatched.
And he can't foul out. He fouled out. He fouls out way too much.
Yeah.
And you can't foul out with Jokic down there. You just can't.
No, because they have nobody after that.
They got to come back together, play better game 2 or game 4, I guess it would be, to get that second win. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. But if they can tie it up 2-2, then again, I think it goes 7. I think it could be, but going down 3-1 won't be obviously statistically great for them. Okay, we say the best for last. When I say best, like our favorite for last. Maybe not your favorite, Mata. We just talked about. You love the Jokic and the Nuggets.
I'm all over it.
But let's talk about the Lakers. This is another gentleman's sweep, right? Like it's headed that way.
Yeah.
And I want to make very clear. I want to start this off. Not having Chris Paul is a problem.
Yes, absolutely it is.
But I might say something that's blasphemous here, and I think it's true. Everybody says that, man, it's a bummer that Chris Paul hasn't made it to the conference finals or won a title and blah, blah, blah. And Chris Paul changes franchises and he takes them to the playoffs and blah, blah, blah. Isn't also part of Chris Paul's legacy that he can never stay healthy when they're needed?
Yeah, he is always hurt come playoff time, right?
And I'm sorry, like that, there are people that are healthy and can avoid injuries, and there are people that just cannot. Part of that is how you condition. I'm not calling out his conditioning. I'm just saying some things that can happen.
Yeah.
There are things that you can do to prevent injuries, and maybe some people are just unlucky. And it seems like Chris Paul is always hurt in the big moments, and that is a hindrance to your team. He is a massive reason that they made it here. Oh,
yes.
So the fact that he's not playing means that this is done. I'm sorry, this is done.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, the Suns they actually are playing really well.
They are.
Like
Ayton is playing out of his mind.
He is. Good. Like, he is just abusing Gasol and Drummond.
Yep.
Like, but then you get to the fourth quarter and they put AD on him, and it's a little bit of a different story.
For sure.
But he's shooting almost 90% in this series.
Yeah, I think like 88%, 87.5%. Stupid.
I mean, they're all dunks.
Yeah,
like literally every single one. Yeah, absolutely.
Take what the defense gives you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said it. We'll talk about it. They still don't look all the way right, the Lakers.
Yeah. It doesn't matter though.
Doesn't matter.
Because like
it doesn't matter in this series.
No, it doesn't matter in this series. And like you and I, like, you should see like our text chains, guys, like when we're talking about the Lakers, because we give them a lot of shit.
Oh, it's ugly at times. Yeah. Very ugly.
Yeah.
Bad defensive rotations, terrible offense. People are standing around. It's stagnant. We talk shit about AD sometimes. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
LeBron, 5 turnovers in the first half or first half and third quarter. It's terrible. Blah, blah, blah. And then they go up by 19.
Yeah, exactly. And then they buckle down defensively.
Yeah.
And even when they're bad defensively, they're still good. Like
they still can do what they need to do.
Yeah. So
we are Lakers stands and LeBron stands for this podcast, but if you saw our text chain, you would think you wouldn't think, you'd be like, oh, they're objective. Like they're also watching the game and like know when they're playing bad. Again, LeBron has times where he's in complete control of the game. And then there are times where he kind of checks out and he makes dumb passes and he tries to do too much flashy shit and it looks bad. Yeah, but if everybody is completely locked in and connected and engaged, no one is beating this team if they're healthy.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And let's talk about it. Last night they did this. They went with their crunch time 5, and it stifles. And I'll look up the stats, like to fact check this. But if the 3-man lineup of Caruso, AD, and LeBron is one of the best in the league, and it has been for the past couple of years. So, but their crunch time 5 is going ahead, Joe. What is usually
Schroeder, AD, LeBron, KCP, and then they'll put in either Caruso, Kuzma,
Matthews.
Depending on who. He was terrible last night.
I know. I'm just saying, like that fifth guy.
Yeah, and then that 5th guy, depending on matchups, foul trouble, that type of thing.
Gasol sometimes is the 5th guy.
Yeah, but like, I wouldn't even put 5th guy as in for
the
him
crunch
on that.
time.
Yeah, for the crunch time, because they need to put AD at the 5, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's AD, Shooter, LeBron, KCP, and that 5th spot usually goes to Caruso.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it goes to Kuzma.
Yep. Last
Right?
night I think it was Kuzma actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was hitting free throws and stuff. I mean, that was obviously they were up by like 13 or so at the time. But
Right.
yeah.
But that lineup right there, like, there's a point, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, where Schroeder was running a fast break. You had AD on one side, LeBron on the other. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, defender's screwed.
Like,
yeah,
you
even if you
that?
have 3 defenders, like even if you can match the fast break, you're still screwed.
Like, you have those 2 on the wings going full speed, Schroeder down the middle. Who played phenomenal.
By the way, then you have KCP and Kuzma trailing that you can hit a 3-2, or if it's Caruso, you can get him cutting.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many weapons, and they've built this team so well,
and
regardless of some of the shit that they've like. Trez hasn't even played in the last 2 games.
No.
So I know I wouldn't say he's unplayable in this series. I'm shocked actually he's not playing.
Correct.
But at the same time, they don't even need him.
No. And that 5 defensively, oh my.
Unbelievable. They just lock down and AD swallows everything at the rim.
He does.
Everything.
And Kuzma is just extremely active defensively.
Yeah, 2 for 12 last night, but so active, so good defensively, made a couple good passes too. He knows now his role is different because those big 2 guys are healthy and Schroeder's back healthy too. But
He's completely embraced it though.
Correct. And I mean, like we've said, when you're getting 3 years, 30 million or whatever, like you're getting 10 million a year to like basically be a role player, you'll take that.
To win titles.
Embrace the role and win titles, right? Like your legacy will be, you played with LeBron and AD, you won maybe 3 titles, and you made, at the end of this, you made $100 million. Like, roll
Cool.
with it, bro.
Yeah. Right?
So it's the best lineup in the NBA when they're healthy and when they're clicking on all cylinders. And this is the team we started to want to see to get going, and it's starting to get there. It's still not there, but they're getting there.
What about Lakers? All their bumps and bruises. Seems like everybody's going down a little bit.
Yeah, KCP's got an MRI today on his quad. It seems like he's got maybe pulled something. Again, they've got shooters and they've got people that they can throw at the wings. The 3 people you cannot lose are AD, LeBron, and Schroeder. Like,
yes, absolutely.
So if those guys and AD looked like he was hobbling at times.
Yeah,
but
he always looks like he's.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he's never not kind of like hobbling and grimacing. So like I'm just kind of used to it now.
Yeah.
But like those guys have to stay healthy, not like completely, but like have to stay uninjured.
They have to stay on the court.
They have to be on the court, and I think LeBron plays a big role in that. He'll keep them there. But if this is what we get, then just buy your ticket for the finals because it's coming.
Yeah. All right, we got 3 questions for you guys.
Let's round it out.
All right, first one, Matt. I'll let you start. Which team, as of this morning, looks like the most like a champion?
So I've got 2, but if I have to pick one, it's Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Just right now.
Yes.
By the end of it, there's going to be probably several, but maybe Milwaukee and LA. But right now, my biggest answer is Milwaukee looks the most like a champion today.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Because, and I'll say this, because the Lakers did not look right against the Suns in game 1.
Right.
You still have some chemistry issues. They still look bad at times. I feel like Milwaukee hasn't played a single bad minute of basketball this entire playoff so far. Against the Heat aren't great.
Sure.
Okay.
But neither are the Celtics, and everybody's giving the Nets praise too, right? So like, let's keep it.
And the Heat are infinitely better than Boston is right now.
Yes.
And the Heat will make you work.
Yes.
Like no matter what. Right?
For sure.
So no matter what it is. So like the fact that they're up 3-0 and it hasn't even been competitive right now
at all
against the team that they lost to a year ago.
Yeah.
No, 6 months ago.
In the bubble. Yeah, we'll call it. We'll call it a year. It's all time. All runs together.
Yeah. Like just tells me that this is an entirely different team.
Yep.
Like Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Bryn Forbes, like they've just come in and done work. So yeah, I completely agree. And the other one would be Philly.
Yeah. They're an honorable mention.
Yeah, but you can't take anything to them because of who they're playing right now in the first round.
Yeah. And I mean, now that we're seeing how the Heat are, you could probably say the same thing about the Bucks. Like, let's wait till next round when they play the Nets or whatever.
Yep.
When Philly plays, maybe New York or Atlanta. I think that's still probably a pretty quick series if you're Philly. But
yes,
those two for sure, as in LA and Milwaukee, and I would throw Philly in there too. Like, and I guess we could say Brooklyn. I want to wait on the Philly Brooklyn conversations until they're playing someone better, but they're there. Okay, Joe. If you had to pick, what's been a team that has surprised you halfway through the first round? Some of these 3 games, some of them 2. Is there any team that's really surprised you?
I'm loving it. I did not expect Dallas to be up 2-0. Like the way Luka has been playing, and they're shooting 50% from the 3.
Yes,
how is that not legitimately 50% from the 3? How is that not surprising to anybody?
In game 2, somebody, I don't know, I think it's Shot Quality is the account on Twitter. They follow basically like how open shots are and whatever. They took 18. There was 18 qualified open shots from 3 for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
10 of them qualified as wide open. How is the best quote unquote wing defenders in the league letting 18 open and 10 wide open threes happen?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's surprising for sure.
And then every time Pat Bev gets switched on to Luka, you're too small.
Too fucking small. Too fucking small.
That was awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if I'm surprised by anything. Obviously, the Mavericks that you said.
That shooting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Everything else has gone pretty much how I expected.
I still want to say the Bucks. Like, honestly, I know we just said that they're the champion team, like crowned as a champion right now, looking like a champion. But I still think how they're playing so damn well is also surprising.
It is, yeah.
So I'm going to say, like, I'm still pleasantly surprised and happily surprised by the Bucks as well.
Like I said, you expect the Heat to bring it every day, right?
Yeah.
Like every single game. So you expect them to get one. Like Grant Hill said.
I called his ass out.
You get the feeling that Miami's going to go on a run here.
He goes, you're just getting that feeling. It's time to go on a run. And I was like, by what evidence? They're awful. And then they lose by like 30. So like, whatever.
Right.
Okay, so this may be a dumb question just based on kind of how we talked about all these games. But are there any teams that maybe now are down like 2-0? Because as we know, if you're down 3-0, they're 148-0. So like, I'm not even going to bring up the 3-0 teams. So I guess that's just one, right? The Heat. Heat aren't coming back. Statistics show that. But are there any teams down 2-0 or now down 2-1 that you see, quote, comebacks from?
No.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I do, but you don't.
No, I know you see Nuggets Blazers.
Yeah, that's the only one, though.
That series is still in doubt. Like, I do think the Nuggets are going to win, and I do think it's going to be 5-1. I just think that, or
in 5, yeah.
Because I just think the games might be close, but when it comes down into like crunch time, like the answer is still the same. So.
Yeah, and the Knicks or Hawks are tied at 1, so that's not necessarily a comeback right now.
No.
Like, maybe ask us whoever wins game 3, like, if they're a comeback, probably. Like, whoever it is, because I think it goes 7. But, like, the only one in my mind right now that isn't already a foregone conclusion that's 2-1 is the Blazers-Nuggets. But even that, I'm like, is that even really a comeback? Like, they're both pretty evenly matched right now, as presently constructed.
Right,
so.
It's not like the Blazers went up 2-0 or the Nuggets went up. Yeah.
So I don't really see any big comebacks. I have, like I said, the Blazers coming back down 2-1 to win in 7. But, like, again, that's not that big of a deal.
Any chance the Clippers come back and win the series?
I actually think they do win game 3.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They have to basically treat this like like the Cavs did against the Warriors. I know it's a different setting.
Yeah.
But you have to take it a game at a time. I know that's cliche, but like you cannot start being like, all right, we're going to get this to 2-2 and then we're going to go back to LA or whatever. It's like, no. If you don't get game 3, the numbers show it's over. So this is it. This is your game 7. But I do think they get game 3. After that, though, I just don't know if they have enough.
I don't. Why do we think this was a champion? This was gets me. Why did everyone think that?
Don't include us in this.
I know, I won't.
Don't you dare include us.
Why
in this.
did people think this? Like,
because
I don't understand. Like, they proved nothing last year.
Yeah.
And then this year, they're the 4th seed.
Okay, but hold on. I understand that. Let me give you a caveat though. The Lakers are also the 7 seed. We can't necessarily look at seeds as how good your team is. They should have been the 3. They tanked on purpose. So they're actually the 3 seed. Yes, they're the 4. But like now, I'm saying that all to say they were not in our minds good enough to win a title. And
No.
we've said that. But when you went as a media person or as a Vegas person setting up the odds, you can look at that team and go, they have 2 superstars. Well, one definitely superstar, one really, really good, maybe kind of dropping down in terms of superstar status. Like, you just expect them to be able to close games and win games, and now we're finding out they can't. Oh, we not now finding out, but we know now they can't.
Yeah.
I think that's
the
why.
takeover?
Yeah, there's no takeover. And you said it, I think, like, is there a look in the mirror type moment in game 3? Because I don't know if there is.
Yeah.
If there isn't, then this is a sweep, it's over. Like, if you can't win this one, and I thought maybe if you couldn't even win game 2, it was over. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't look yourself in the mirror in game 3 and be like, if we don't get this one, like if we don't come out balls to the walls in this one, we're screwed. Well, we're gonna find out. But there, I don't see that. I said the series was over when they won the second one, when the Mavs went up 2-0. But I do think there's a possibility that the Clippers take game 3.
Yeah, I think that one's over too. But you're right. They
Yeah.
could easily
But
take
even then,
game 3.
it's probably 4-1 or whatever. So.
But Dallas is not going to let up, though.
No, no chance.
There's no chance that they're going into this with their guard down, right?
No
game
way.
3.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
All right, man. Anything else?
no, that's it.
All right, I
Love
think-
playoff basketball.
Seriously, we got, games every night. Now we're going to be in the weekend where there's 4 games a night or 4 games a day. So we're back to it. Yeah, we'll be back next week with some more playoff news.
Thanks, guys.